Okay, welcome back to Ladies of Golf, where we feature women thriving throughout the golf industry. Today, I'm joined by Tari Cash, founder and CEO of CitySwing. So CitySwing was launched as a golf simulation experience in the heart of Washington, D.C. So I just wanted to thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you and excited for what For the Ladies is doing for women in the golf industry. I think it's so important. So I'm thrilled to have met you recently and to be on today.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So, just to begin, the first time we chatted, I was completely like just blown away and in awe of your professional background. And I think a lot of people paying attention to this would love to hear about your experiences. I mean, with them ranging from finance and Citigroup to Under Armour and Tesla. One, they're big names, but two, they're just like really diverse experiences. So I was just wondering if you could speak to them a little bit and how you've kind of navigated through those different roles.
Yeah, it is. Very few things about my career path make a whole lot of sense to people other than myself. There are similarities. The similarities are disruptive technology, and the similarities are retail organizations and really opportunities that allow me to engage with consumers and products. So let me just walk you through it.
Yeah.
I did start my career at Citigroup, and I had an incredible mentor, Marge Magner. I'm a big believer that everybody should be mentored and everybody should be a mentor. And thankfully, I've had several throughout my career that have put me in positions that I really wouldn't have raised my hands for. So Marge at Citigroup, she said, Tari, I want you to go run a Citibank branch. And at this point in time, I'm doing investment banking training. Investment banking was the herd for me. That's where the friends that I wanted to be around, that's what they were doing. And she kind of picked me up and reoriented me towards the consumer side. And I just say that because I went kind of kicking and screaming. And on day 2, I fell in love. And that's why another reason why mentorship is so important. But what I fell in love with about retail banking was owning my own P&L, my own profit and loss statement. I loved being responsible for people, and I loved engaging with customers. And that has navigated my entire career. So from Citigroup and from managing a retail branch at a very early age, I went to Harvard Business School. I left retail banking in search of another retail product. I wanted to move away from finance. And so after graduating from Harvard, I went into the auto industry and was looking to purchase my own dealership. My mom likes to say I'm the only person that's gone to Harvard Business School to go sell used cars afterward.
Oh my gosh.
And which is exactly what I did. And so I joined Roger Penske's Penske Automotive Group and learned how, again, to become an owner operator of a car dealership. So once I graduated from that program, as timing would have it, it was 2008, and that's when the economy tanked. And I thought at the time, you know what, this is only going to be around for about 3-4 months. You know, the economy is going to bounce back and I'll be able to buy my dealership. There were a lot of dealerships for sale at that point in time, but there were not a lot of good deals, and it wasn't the right time for a first-time entrepreneur to jump into that market. I'm sorry, so there were a lot of good deals, but it was a very difficult environment, very similar to where we are today.
Sure.
And you have to be very, very smart and savvy, I think, to start business at that point in time. If you do, you probably end up being quite successful, but it's a difficult time for first-time entrepreneurs. So I said, you know what, let me go to this little company named Tesla. Nobody will know that I'm there. You know, I'll be there for 3 to 4 months, and that'll be that. And, you know, I'll come back and I'll buy a Toyota dealership, you know. And lo and behold, I joined Tesla, and that is actually what brought me to Washington, D.C. So I joined Tesla in 2009, and Elon, at the time, we were still in the process of working out the deal for the Department of Energy loan, the big first loan that Tesla got. And he said, I need someone to open up a store within a mile of a White House and a mile of the Capitol. And you know the DC area,
Yeah.
Abby, so you probably know there's no car dealerships in DC.
Right.
I get here not from the area,
You're like,
and
of
I'm
course I
here.
can.
I'm here to open up my Tesla store.
Oh my God.
And the mayor was Adrian Fenty at the time, was like,
Yeah.
lady, like, that is not really what we do. But Adrian Fenty was incredibly supportive, and we figured it out with the support of his office and the tenacity and the hustle that it takes to get things done. We got the first Tesla store on the East Coast open in DC, and there was one in New York that was in the works of being open. I ultimately ended up running the entire East Coast for Tesla Motors, so from Maine down through Georgia, was responsible for all sales, marketing, PR. It was everything. We did everything to grow the business, and that's
Right.
truly one of the more rewarding experiences in my life, is to go from joining a company where people are like, what is Tesla like? What company are you joining? To actually now seeing how many Teslas there are on the road today is a pretty cool experience. So we're coming toward the end now, but left Tesla and joined in 2013 and joined Under Armour. Had the opportunity to join what was called the Office of the CEO, which was Kevin Plank's strategy office at Under Armour. And I did everything from, I was Kevin's primary speechwriter to when he had brilliant ideas that seemed to only come between the hours of 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning. It was my job to take those ideas and kind of have them ready for him by the time he got into the office at 9:10 a.m. and to see what the plan was going to be to try to get those things off of the ground. So another incredible experience for me, being around Elon as an entrepreneur that's focused on engineering incredible products, Kevin as an entrepreneur that is one of the most incredible storytellers, and someone that truly embodies brands and understands how to grow a brand. And to see both of those perspectives, it's just been a really unique opportunity for me in my career. When I left Under Armour, I was just looking for another sort of Tesla type disruptive technology experience. And I went to a company that maybe we'll come back to later. It ended up being the wrong fit for me. It wasn't the right company. It was, to this point, I've really mostly done consumer oriented products. And this was a consulting B2B business. And so it, sometimes you land in spaces that are just not yours. And I'm a big believer in being like, you know what, this is just not a right fit. So while I was at that company, which lasted a short period of time, I was daydreaming about CitySwing, and I was wanting to improve my golf game. That was the real inspiration for CitySwing, is living in downtown DC and wanting to have an easier way to get the reps in of that swing so that I could see the improvement that I wanted to see. So wanting it for myself, but then also realizing that there wasn't an indoor golf facility in downtown DC, and simultaneously having some things that were sparked going on around me that helped crystallize the importance of diversifying the golf industry and the need, quite frankly, which is still there today, but the need to make golf more inclusive and inviting and welcoming to people of color, underrepresented communities, women for sure. And I want to be a part of it. And so that's when we just started to ideate and run fast.
Yeah. Before we get to, I want to touch on like how you noticed the things around you and brought them to CitySwing, especially from wanting to grow the diversity in the game. Before that, though, I would love to just quickly hear about, when did you learn how to play golf? Why did you learn how? Did somebody introduce you?
Yeah. Like so many people, my dad fell in love with golf, and he was always talking about it. He wanted us as a family. I have a brother, my mom, he wanted us to fall in love as well. We were definitely slower to the game, and it was a funny story. It's Father's Day. My dad is a member at the Brookline Country Club, and I grew up in Wellesley, Massachusetts. Brookline
Okay.
has such a rich history. But my mom, one Father's Day, was like, you know what? This is the year. We're just going to surprise your dad. None of us had taken a lesson. None of us knew how to play golf club. Brookline, Father's Day. She's like, we're going to take 1 or 2 lessons, and then we'll book a tea time, and we'll go out with him.
It'll be great.
18. And we thought it was the best idea ever. To this day, he's like, that was the worst Father's Day ever. Like, we had to let every group pass through. And, fortunately, we didn't end up on, they have a nice 9-hole course as well. But even on the beginner 9-hole course, we had to let everybody pass us through. And it was probably far more frustrating to him than it was fun. But, we had a great time. And so at that point in time, that's when I first learned how to play. So I was a teenager at the time. It became more important as I entered the professional world. And that's when I think I fell in love with it as an adult.
Nice. So when did you start? You said you started kind of daydreaming about CitySwing when you were working for the B2B business. When did you decide to take that leap to open it?
So probably spring of maybe fall of 2017, towards the end of 2017, early 2018. I launched the pop-up in July of 2018, the first iteration of the business, but it took me a while. I went to my first PGA show in January of 2018. I met all of the technology providers. I met all of the support systems that I needed to run the business. And so that's when things really got serious, and I got focused in about January 2018.
So do you think that along the way you were working for such strong entrepreneurs that, someday you were going to open or do something that you owned for yourself?
I think I have always known that I want to be an entrepreneur. And I have been around, being around Elon and Kevin is just, you get to be around them, but then you get to be around their networks who are other tremendous entrepreneurs. And particularly because I wrote a lot of Kevin's speeches, I got to get into the mind of an entrepreneur. So yeah, I think I've always known that this was in me. I never saw a business like CitySwing coming. So yeah, that was not on my radar. But I'm so pleased to be here. Like I said before, it is timely. It is necessary for a Black woman to have this type of business. I don't need to be the only person in this space, but the industry needs a Black woman to be running an indoor golf facility right now. Just make it more accessible, and representation matters. And so I think I'm exactly where I want to be, but I also think I'm where I need to be.
Yeah. So I do want to address race, since golf has this strained relationship with it.
Yeah.
I think, speaking from your heart and from yourself, like, what ways has race impacted your professional and personal life, whether it was starting a business or in your work life or just playing golf in general? And maybe we can touch on each of those.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked the question. Obviously right now it's very top of mind. It is difficult to talk about in some respects, but we have to have difficult conversations. And I think that's what's making me so, the hope that I do have for this moment is that people like you are willing to ask the questions and engage in the conversation, and other folks are willing to step up to the plate. So thanks for that. I have not experienced, one of the inspirations for me for starting this business was the 5 Black women in Pennsylvania that had the police called on them for playing too slow. I don't know if you know that story, but that was traumatizing to me. I have not had an experience like that in my lifetime, particularly in the golf industry, but the microaggressions that I have experienced in my professional career are, I almost want to say 100% what has driven me to entrepreneurship. There's a statistic out there that says Black women are amongst the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs. And I can't speak for all Black women. I can tell you that my guess is that the subtleties that we face in corporate America make it so that is not a place that we want to stay for very long. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that, just to be very explicit, is I've worked for incredible people. I've worked for incredible companies. At every single one of them, I have had someone tell me that I'm an angry Black woman. And anybody that knows me knows, like, I don't yell. I don't have a whole lot of attitude. But that is a perception of Black women. And so whether you know me or not, that is something that is going to subtly cross your mind. Not everybody, but some people. Being called loud, I'm not loud, being passed over, making a comment in a meeting, and then 2 minutes later having a man say the same thing. That is not an issue of race. I do think that's an issue of gender. Another reason I'm very hopeful about these race conversations is because I do believe that white women can identify with what it feels like to be passed over. And so this whole conversation around having allies to this movement that's going on right now, I think women actually are going to be the people to solve this. Very pro girl. But I think I'm really excited about, you have to be able to empathize and to feel what it's like to be discriminated against. And that's why I think I place a little bit more hope in women than I do in men with certain men right now. But getting back to your question, I was driven to start CitySwing because of the company that I referred to. I never told this story, so this is interesting. This is a first for me, but like I said, I wasn't the right fit for that role, but also the culture was a bit toxic for me. I was the only Black person in the entire company, and I've been the only for my entire life, but it's always hard. That never gets easier. I was the only Black person, but I was also the only woman at the executive rank that I was in the organization. And normally golf is like my go-to. When I can't connect with a white male, I'm like, okay, we're not connecting. Let me go to golf. And when they know that I top golf or play golf, usually that's my in. And it was my in at this organization in terms of communicating with them. But what happened is, because I felt so disconnected, I tried to organize a golf outing with my peers, because I was like, you know what, if they see that I can drive the ball, like, I'm going to be good, then they're going to accept me, that our relationship will be further along. They really wouldn't play golf with me. And when I realized they wouldn't play, they weren't interested in playing golf with me. They played amongst themselves. But when I said, let's organize an outing to play golf, work all of a sudden became more important. And when I realized I couldn't even use golf to connect, that's when I really said, it's time to go. And it's time for you to create something in the golf industry, because had I been able to play with them, I think I would have been able to make that. I suspect I would have had a little bit of an easier time making that connection. And it reinforced for me, maybe not at that company, maybe what I just said wasn't true, but it reinforced for me the fact that it is really, really critical that more women, particularly women of color, learn this game, so that when they do have the opportunity to play with their colleagues, that they feel confident and that they can be out there. And as we know, that is where the business is done. That is where the relationships are made. And I think that's where careers can be advanced.
Yeah. And I feel like that's just not going to change in regards to business happening on the golf course.
I agree. I think that, and one of the reasons why is, while golf has extreme barriers and it is very exclusive and it can be very intimidating to get started, it is also, the other end of the spectrum is true, it's the easiest way to connect with someone. So we all know what it's like to hit an awesome drive. We all know what it's like to hit a terrible drive, or to miss a putt, or to sink a putt. And that emotion can tie the oldest, most southern white male with the youngest, most dynamic black female, we can like come together over playing golf. And I'm going to keep that kind of hope alive in my heart. I think this industry is uniquely suited to do something that other sports can't.
Yeah, we are at such a unique point where, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, people are open to the conversation, people are open to new ideas. And I think that, CitySwing is going to be, I think it's leading by example, which I think is really important. I think a lot of people can bring new ideas to the table, and that's wonderful. But like truly showing how things can make a difference in the community and leading by example is just going to make so much more of a difference. Would you mind talking to us about like how you bring CitySwing's mission to life every day at the simulator?
I think to your point, I talk about this all the time with my team. We are going to walk the walk, not just talk the talk, right? We are a business that has a target market that is primarily comprised of white males and what the average golfer looks like. And so what we do is we've created a space for people that are very competitive and concerned and love the game of golf, a place where they feel that they can advance with TrackMan technology. But we believe that our technology and our focus on real golf is what will attract those people to us. And we take a portion of all of the revenue that we receive, and we make sure that we are investing in underrepresented and underserved communities. So we've got specific programming designed to meet all of what I would call underrepresented and underserved communities. We've got our most successful program is called Backing Birdies. Backing Birdies is essentially a consumer can buy a 1 hour gift card, and we take that 1 hour and we go and find kids from urban areas and underrepresented areas in Washington, D.C. And our first goal is just make sure they have a ton of fun on the simulator. No kid's going to want to play golf again if it just ends up being frustrating and not fun. So for us, it's not, hold the club however you want to hold the club, just experience that thrill of hitting the ball and seeing the ball, reach the goal that you're trying to reach, the green or get in the hole, whatever your goal is. Just have fun with it. So that's a really successful program. What we do with that one as well is we take a video of the kids while they're playing, and we send the video back to the person that's purchased the donation, and they would say, "Hi, Abby, we just played and we had a great time." And so you end up feeling a little bit more of a connection. That is an example of how I believe we're a startup, right? We're a lean startup, but we can still do good. We don't have to sacrifice profitability for social impact. And in fact, our goal is to find the intersection between profitability and social impact in everything that we do. So that's been an awesome program for us. We have a program with the Women's Georgetown golf program, and Coach Kate over there, it's called Birdies to Eagles, where we've created a mentorship program for, this is also with an organization called Golf My Future My Game, which is a huge a partner of CitySwings. They are an incredible nonprofit organization doing wonderful things in the golf space. But the Georgetown, CitySwing, and Golf My Future My Game, we've come together and we've formed mentorships between the players on the team and primarily Black girls in the DC area. Okay. And the goal is to create community, create exposure. We have found some really good girl golfers. And so what's really nice is they are early teens, and now they are seeing women that have gotten golf scholarships, and they're talking to them about, how do I email the coach? How do I position myself? What do you love about it? And just getting that exposure is really important. So I love Birdies to Eagles as well. We have a women's program called Sip and Swing. which is our Women in Wine program, really primarily geared at women that are learning how to play golf. I like to say it's as much about the wine as it is about the golf, but everybody comes back for more golf once the wine has settled off.
Right.
So yeah, we just look for programming, sponsorship opportunities where, again, we can find the intersection between profitability and social impact.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think you have brought something to light that I think that I often talk about, which is you have brought these programs and have brought CitySwing to the place where people need to be served, where a lot of the time golf is like, well, you should be coming to us. Where I have sometimes this mentality of, well, no, if we want golf to grow, we need to go to the people we want to reach.
Yeah.
Do you have any like commentary on that? I think it was kind of along with my question of like, what would you recommend to the golf community at large? But any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We have to go. Nobody, I don't care what color or gender you are, you're not going to go where you don't feel welcome.
Right.
It's just not human nature. And unfortunately, golf has had a history of not making people feel welcome, to the point where now it's almost embedded in your DNA. Like, Black people in golf, like that's not a mix, you know?
Right.
So the only way to combat that right now is to truly go get them, go to where the people are, to what you said. But I have a lot of thoughts about how we diversify this industry. It's not going to be up to any one person, any one entity, any one gender, any one race. It's going to be very multi-layered and require all hands on deck. I think, and if I remember correctly, I think, we were talking a little bit about at all levels of the game, right? So if we're talking about professional, and if we're talking about grassroots efforts like the first tee, representation matters, first of all. The young ladies that may think about joining the first tee need to see the Cheyenne Woods, the Maria Stackhouses, the Troy Mullins of the world at the professional level, because you believe you can do it when you see other people like you. So we need to make sure that the representations in the boardrooms, in the employee basis for any golf company, on the tour, all levels, there needs to be representation. So that's one thing. And kind of secondarily to that, when we say representation, we used to talk about this a lot in the corporate world. We're not talking about one, right? We got to stop saying we're going to diversify with one. That doesn't work. It's too much pressure on that one person, and that just is not the answer. We can't stop at two, because what happens with two is now you've created a competitive situation. You could create a competitive situation where they are now fighting to be the one, right? And I think this is true. This is a framework that's true for diversifying with women, diversifying with race, diversifying with thought process. Not just talking about Black, but 3 or more is the magic number, because now you've got a community, you've got a support system for whoever is doing the diversifying. You've got the ability to have multiple opinions shared. There's not one Black opinion. I can only speak for Tari. I need 2 other sisters or 2 other people to help you understand the breadth of how Black people feel, right? So I think it's about, when we talk about diversifying, it's not just one, it's we got to get to 3, and then hopefully many, many more. Programming matters. We just talked about programming. Financial support matters. I think when we look at the incredible women that have made it to the professional ranks, I don't know how you do that if you don't have the, and I'm talking about all of them, but if you don't have the financial support to be on the amateur tour, it's expensive, and it is not only hard skill-wise, but just from a financing perspective, you got to support yourself. So I think we need to embrace and support those women as well. So there's a lot to it. we're headed in the right direction. And I think we just keep focusing on the importance of it, and we'll get there.
Right, right. And I think for me, I have hope that people aren't going to say, oh my gosh, there's so much we have to do. Like, where do we start? It's listening to people who have ideas and can bring those to light. And I love what you just shared. That's amazing. And I definitely want to share it with the organizations I work for. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was something about the golf industry professionally that you didn't know before CitySwing? Did anything surprise you? Like, I heard you say you went to the PGA show. Like, that's a culture shock in itself. So
Yes, I did not know what I was getting into.
right.
Some entrepreneurs say if I had known, I probably wouldn't have done it, quite frankly. But I had a ball at the PGA show. I mean, I took my dad with me, and we snuck in the day before it opened because we were like very strategic. We were like, we're going to map this thing out. We're going to know where to go the day before, and then we're just going to like hit these booths. And we had a whole game plan. So it ended up being an amazing thing, an amazing experience for me. But what has surprised me the most is the accessibility of public golf courses. And when I say the accessibility, I'm really talking about the price. There are more courses out there that are more affordable than I would have guessed and suspected. And I think the missing link, and what I hope to do with CitySwing, because again, we are really about getting people to the course. Our mission statement is to make golf fun and convenient for everyone. And that has to do with being located in urban cities and urban areas. However, my personal passion is to get more women and people of color on the golf course so that they can take advantage of the professional, the reasons that you need to be there professionally, right? So I want to really create that link between helping people learn indoors, but getting them on some of these public courses so that they can get the practice in. You won't get better at this game unless you play, and we got to make that transition to the golf course. So I'm really excited about public golf courses. Once we go and get the people that we want to be there, I think that it is a bit more accessible than I would have thought before joining the industry.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And yeah,
do you agree?
I do. It's tough. I live in New Jersey. And I sometimes struggle with finding New Jersey golf courses accessible.
Yeah.
I think like in DC, you guys are so lucky to have East Potomac, Langston. There are some great places. Yeah. I think it is a little geographical. Okay. However, in Ohio, where I am with my parents right now, there are tons of public courses that are well maintained and people care about them and they have good programming. So it's a little geographical, but I do agree, like you don't have to play at a private golf course. Most of the time at public places, you can come a little bit more like yourself, but it is that huge hump from going from an indoor simulator or just hitting in your backyard to going to the golf course. It's such a big hump. And that's why you need a community to do that with.
To do it. I appreciate that clarification. I'm very focused on DC, the DC metro area. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it just depends. And I still have a lot to learn, but I think even and that's what I try to do with For the Ladies, is like, how can we provide just even a listing of courses, like female friendly public courses that it's just, okay, well, I'm going to go to this list and find what's in my area. Because a lot of the time it's just a lack of knowledge. And if you're new to the game, you're like, where do I even start? So yeah, so it's a mix of being welcome and then just knowing where to go. Yeah, we're gonna get there though. So what's to come for CitySwing? You guys obviously began as a single simulator space, but you are growing.
We are growing. We're really excited for the future, and the future involves a space that has multiple simulators, food and beverage, really being an entertainment space that really continues to challenge the culture of golf. So we are excited about expansion. We are also excited not excited for COVID and this pandemic, but excited to have the opportunity to really be thoughtful about what is the future for event space and indoor golf going to look like. We've got the opportunity to still design some things as it relates to the pandemic. And so we think you're going to be really pleased with what we have in store for where we're going in the future, and kind of leading the retail, the new retail that's going to come as a result of this pandemic that we have to get through.
Good. I'm very excited. Fingers crossed for the ladies coming very soon.
Good. Yes. We can't wait to host you.
So the last question I ask everyone is, what advice do you have for women who want to try the game?
Oh, yeah. I think I would say grab a friend, find a group of friends, a foursome that you can learn with and you can grow with. Create your tribe, take some lessons together, and then before you're ready, get on that golf course and just it's easier with somebody. And I think it actually ends up becoming more special and the journey is more fun with someone. I had an amazing golf partner, Valencia McClure, who I really think that she is part of the reason that I fell in love with the game, is because we had this shared experience together, and we went from not feeling totally intimidated to being out there together to really being quite confident. And we found ourselves in some tournaments and in some positions where we did very, very well together. So create that bond with a group of friends and do it together.
Yeah. And it makes it so much more fun. And frankly, I would be doing that with any other activity. Like, I'm not going to go learn how to ballroom dance by myself. I'm probably going to go with somebody else.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for the time today. I really enjoyed this conversation so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And we will make sure to tag CitySwing, but what is your guys' website and Instagram so people can follow along?
Yeah, so on Instagram, we're at CitySwing. Our website is cityswingdc.com, and we have all information about all of our programming. You can reach me. I would love to, I appreciate meeting you so much because I'm not from the golf industry. And so meeting more industry professionals, meeting more people that are passionate about golf, please reach out. We are so excited to now be a part of this industry and to grow with everyone. So love the opportunity to meet your incredible community, Abby.
Thank you. And we're really glad you're in it. So excited to have CitySwing as part of the golf community. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.